Welcome everybody to a new My Hero Academia video. And guys, I have here the Ultimate IIDA guide. So yeah, a lot of you have been asking so much in my videos, who's going to be the next character? You should do this one, you should do that one, you should do this. Please do this, please do that. Well, it's IIDA. It's going to be IIDA this time. I'm going to leave before we move forward. I'm going to tell you guys that I will leave a poll in the description below so that you guys can vote which character would you like to see next in, which ultimate guide would you like to see next. All right, so for now it's just gonna be IIDA. Well, it's just gonna be IIDA. That sounds bad. No, it's gonna be IIDA. IIDA is a lot of fun. He's not a hard character to manage at all. In fact, if we're going by easy, normal, and hard, like in regards to difficulty using heroes, I think IIDA is actually easy. He's pretty straightforward, even though his combos look a little bit intimidating. It's just pretty straightforward once you get the hang of it. I think this is actually the very first time that I make a guide, and the ability section only has one picture per ability instead of like 2 or 3 or 4. So yeah. Very cool. I've been upgrading my IIDA in my account, and I think he's at like 36k BP right now, and very cool. He's a very cool character. He's a monster when it comes to single target damage. He's actually a monster. He like melts enemies. He is your top choice when it comes to timed events like boss raid. Definitely your top choice. Is it boss raid or boss rush? Boss raid, I think, right? Something like that. When it comes to those timed events, that require, fast timing or maybe like mock contests and stuff like that, IIDA is going to be your top choice because he is an absolute 1v1 monster. In PvE, I really don't like IIDA in PvP. He's at the very bottom in my tier list. But for PvE, he is certainly a top choice if you want to score high on timed events. So, here's the guide. We're just gonna go through all of it. I don't think this video is actually gonna be that long because like I said, it is pretty straightforward. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. Oh, one more thing before we do, please, I always mention this, but it doesn't hurt to remind you guys that I do these guides with YuYJ, with Dan. He's my guide person. He's the one that comes up with all the information for you guys. So obviously, huge shout out to him. You can find him if you go to Discord, to the official Discord. Link is right here, and you go to the help channel. He's always there helping people out. So yeah, now let's just jump into the guide. All right, guys. So for IIDA, before we get into his Q, I think we should actually start with his passive, right? Yeah, his passive, like kind of his autos, his autos are like kind of part of his passive. They're an essential part of it. So when you see the bar in the middle, right, that's going to be his engine, right? So we have engine boost and engine power, right? So if I auto attack the enemy, you can see that, the little red bar there is charging. That's my engine power, right? So for each auto attack that I do, I get 5 engine power, right? So this gets modified with a bunch of different things, right? Like talents and skills and stuff like that. But this is like the essential, right? So if we have more than 15 engine, right? Let me just charge more than 15 engine real quick. Okay, that went terrible wrong. Okay, this is not going well for an IIDA guide. I'm sorry. So yeah, let me just charge it real quick. You can see that I just charge it doing auto attacks. So now when we have more than 53% engine boost, we actually get extra auto attacks. As you can see right there, you can see IIDA's legs turn from blue to orange, right? And now his auto attack combo is a lot longer. See? So, yeah. So I just wanted to get started with that because his whole kit actually revolves around that. So I think it's very important that we actually, get that out of the way first. All right. So, now that we got his engine power covered, right? Let's go to his Q. So his Q, essentially what it's going to do is a couple of things. So the first thing I'm gonna try to show you guys, but it never works for me. His Q is basically like a dodge, like an extra dodge that IIDA has. It's supposed to be able to give you, the counter, or or not the counter, but the slowdown, from a perfect dodge. I'm not sure if it can give you the counter. I don't think I've ever gotten that. But yeah, it's supposed to be a dodge and work as a dodge, but I can never actually proc it. I don't know. I think I do it too early. I don't know. Let me try one more time. Let's see. No, I didn't do it in time. But anyways, so his Q, it's kind of like a personalized dodge. Really don't suggest that you use it as such. Anyways, it's probably the least optimal way to use. Let me just turn it off because I can't get it. I'm so sorry, guys. But you can see that he turns yellow when he's going back, right? So because he becomes invincible, same as with the dodge. Let me show you. See, he turns yellow when I dodge. He turns yellow when I do his Q. So his Q just pushes him back like a dodge, except that unlike a dodge, unlike the dodge, the Q actually propels him back, forward, right? So if I use it somewhere random, right, like far away from the enemy, I don't know if I can show you here. Yeah, no, it just goes back to the enemy. But basically, your Q will just push you forward until you hit a wall or an enemy, right? So those are like the two parts of his Q mechanically speaking, right? So it works like a dodge first, and then it just pushes you forward until you hit something, right? But the actual use for his Q is actually going to be when you charge your engine power, your Q is actually going to convert. You can see right there that my engine power is maxed up, right? So if I press my Q, it's actually going to convert my engine power into engine boost, right? So now I have 25% boost, right? Let me see if I can do a little bit more. So okay, so now my engine power is fully charged. I do it again, and it gives me 25% extra boost, right? And now I'm at 50%, so I get the extra combos with my auto attacks, so that I can charge it faster, right? Because another thing to mention is that the more boost, right, the more engine boost that you get, the faster that you will do your auto attack combo. You can see right there, I'm hitting super, super fast. So the maximum engine boost that you can have is actually going to be 200%, right? And so what you want to do with IIDA is obviously just try to get to 200% as fast as possible, because that's going to be when you're at peak performance, right? That's going to be when you're doing the most damage that you possibly can. So you can see right here that, his engine is kind of glowing. There it has a special animation, and if I press Q, it won't charge it anymore, right? 200% is actually the maximum engine boost that IIDA can have. So yeah, that's basically your Q, right? It's a specialized dodge. Then it just I just call it specialized, right? Because it's like a dodge besides the normal dodge. But you don't want to use it as a dodge usually. And also it just pushes you forward, so it's a super, super gap closer, because it doesn't have a limit to how far you can go. He just goes until he hits something. So it's a super good gap closer. And lastly, and most importantly, I think, is that it transforms your engine power into engine boost, right? And this is going to be more and more important the more that we explore IIDA, right? So let's move on to his W now. All right, guys, and now his W. His W is actually another gap closer. You can see right there. It's another gap closer, just like his Q. And his W is actually going to do a full combo whenever it hits an enemy. You can see, I'm going to do it again, and you can see that I'm not pressing the auto attack button. It's just doing the combo by itself, right? That is his W combo. So it works if we'll see this, we'll cover this when we go to the optimal combos, but it works when you want to open a fight, right? So when your engine power is at 0%, right, you want to open with your W, because if you use your Q, you're just going to be using as a as a gap closer. It doesn't have a very long cooldown. I think it's like 2 or 3 seconds, the Q does, but I still think it's better that you use your W to gap close, because you'll just go into a combo, right? So you will charge, you can see right there, it charges the entire bar, I know I pressed the auto attack button right there. I just really like to press it. I don't know. You don't have to. You don't have to. But you can see that. Let me show you one more time that it charges your entire engine boost bar in one go. Right? Just I'm not gonna press anything, and it's just gonna charge my entire bar in one go. Right? So I should use it as a gap closer, and then it charges my boost bar, and then if I do it a little bit faster, I will get 25% right off the bat, right? 25% engine power right off the bat. Let me show you one more time. So wait until it's finished, and then I press Q, and then I have 25% engine power right off the bat, right? So that's very, very, very good. So yeah, you definitely always going want to open your fights with your W. It works exactly like your Q as a gap closer. It fills your bar, and you have 25% right off the bat. So if you don't charge your this is something that I didn't mention before, but if you don't charge your engine boost bar all the way and you press Q, it will just charge less than 25%, right? It will charge however much. Dokkan making an appearance as usual. All of my guides. It's just because I always record the guides at the same time, so I always get the Dokkan notification. But yeah, you get the gist of it, right, guys? You got close with W, it charges your entire bar, you get 25% of engine power right off the bat. You can also use it as a combo extender. So if I'm doing an auto attack combo, I can just press W, right, and it will just extend my combo. This is, good if you're at 200% power, right, and you finish your auto attack combo. You can see that Ida kind of stands there once you finish your auto attack combo. So you can just use your W to extend, right, so that you don't lose time just standing there. I just press WC, and it'll just extend the combo, right? So yeah, it's a very, very useful ability. You're going to be using it all the time so that you can charge your engine power faster, because like I said before, your objective, your goal with IIDA, the very first priority that you will have with IIDA is going to be to charge your engine power all the way to 200, because that's when you're going to be doing the most amount of damage. Okay, all right, guys, and now for his E. So for his E, you're never ever going to want to, we'll cover this later, but you'll never ever want to use his E when you are below 200%. And the reason why is that his E is actually going to be it's a 4-hit combo. It's just like a kick, it does damage, right? But the real use for his E is that it's going to be a boost to your attack, and also to your by the way, I'm not doing the optimal combo here because I'm just buying time while I speak, if you're wondering. But yeah, your E is actually going to buff your attack by 25%, and your Q, right, the amount of basically the amount of engine boost that you transform into engine power, by 12.5%, right? But if you use your E when you're at 200% engine power, you are actually going to double those buffs, right? And what that's going to mean is that you will get 50% attack, and also your Q will actually charge by 25% more when will transform 25% more of your engine boost into engine power after you use your E. The one downside to your E is that it's going to deplete you're going to deplete your engine power all the way down to 0. But since it actually boosts your Q, you will be able to get back up to 200% pretty quick by using the optimal combo that we'll cover later. So let me show you. Let me use the E right here, right? So now I got the boost, and now I'm just going to use Q, and you can see that it actually charged me 50%, and now I'm back up to 100%, and now I'm at 150, and now I'm at 200 again. That was super quick, right? And so now I'm at 200% again, but this time I have a 50% attack boost. So I'm doing a lot more damage, right? That boost actually only lasts for 15 seconds, right? So the amount of time that it actually takes you to go from from 0 to 200 while under the ease buff is actually going to be, if you do it correctly, it's going to be about 6 to 9 seconds, right? It's how much it's going to take you. So that means that you will have about 6 seconds, right? 6 to 9 seconds to actually deal as much damage as you can, right? That is actually going to be the optimal state for IIDA, right? So yeah, that's going to be the best use for your E. You never, ever, ever want to use it when you're under 200% because you're just wasting your potential by a lot. So now let's move on to his ult. All right, guys, and now for his ult, right? So his ult is actually going to be something that you never actually want to use unless you're finishing off a fight. And the reason why is because your ult is actually going to be it's going to deal a lot less damage than if you actually just auto attack and do your combo and do like IIDA stuff, right? So if you put your combo auto attacks and your ult side to side, you'll notice that your ult is actually going to it's actually going to deal a lot less damage than if you actually just focus on auto attacking, which is just what IIDA does, right? So yeah, so basically that's it, right? There's not much else to say. You just want to use your ult as a finisher. So let's say that the boss has like 1 or 2 health bars left. Now I can just use the ult, right, and just finish the boss off, right? That's pretty much it. It's going to deal a lot more damage, as you can see, whenever you if you have more engine power. You can see the first time it dealt like 120k damage, right? Because I had my engine power at 0%. But now that I did it with 200%, I actually dealt a lot more damage, right? I think it was like 180k, pretty sure. But yeah, don't actually be fooled by that. You will actually always want to save your ult either for the very end or just not use it at all, right? There are people that don't even use IIDA'S E. Because they feel like they do more damage when just auto attacking. So IIDA is all about optimizing, right? IIDA is all about optimizing your time, optimizing your DPS, and this is exactly why he's the king of a single target. Single target basically. He's the king of just melting down bosses as fast as possible, right? And this is why. So yeah, that's gonna be it for his ult, pretty much. All right, guys, and finally we have his IIDA'S quirk, right? So what his quirk is going to do is that it will actually lock your combo so that you can't lose your combo. So remember how I told you that if you just stand still or don't attack for a little while, your engine power will reset back to 0%? Well, if you actually use your quirk, that won't happen for the duration of the quirk, right? So let me go to 25, and now I'm going to activate my quirk, and I'm gonna just run around, and you can see that my quirk stays right there. And you can see when it says 25 hits, it gets like a little lock. Let's see if we can do it again. Yeah, so let's do it again, and you'll see that the combo meter, right, where it says 23, 24. Okay, so now I activate it, right, and you can see that where it says 25 hits, it has a lock because I won't lose my combo. That's important for some talents and cards and stuff like that. That require you to have a certain number of combos for you to actually gain some boosts and stuff like that, right? So that's basically what your quirk does, right? You can't lose engine boost and you can't lose your engine power either. That's pretty much it, right? So Danny's actually going to explain this better in a little bit, but basically you want to activate it so that you don't lose your charged boost, right? And so if you activate it on and off, you can just you don't need to recharge your boost every time, right? You can just keep it up, and so that way you'll get to 200 a lot faster, right? So with the optimal combo, that's exactly what you're going to be doing, right? Instead of manually charging your bar every time, you will use your quirk optimally, right? So that you can get to 200% as fast as possible, right? So that's pretty much what your quirk is all about, right? Just being able to charge your boost power as much as possible, as fast as possible, right? Alright guys, and I'm just going to mention the core gameplay real quick. You guys know that this is all stuff that I already mentioned in the abilities section, but I'm just putting it in the guide for the people that won't watch the video and just find the guide instead, right? So your biggest source of damage will come from your auto attacks. That's pretty obvious, right? With a character like Ida, your ult is a DPS slot, so you don't want to use it unless it's to finish off an enemy. Again, something that I already mentioned. And you only ever want to use your E while you are at 200% power. Again, something that I already mentioned before, right? So yeah, that's it for the core gameplay. Like I said, Ida is actually a very straightforward character. The only complicated thing about Ida is going to be his combos a little bit, if you want to use him optimally, of course. So for that, since I'm not very familiar with Ida, Dan or YuYJ is actually going to take over here, and he's going to explain to you guys how the combos work. I'm gonna put the combos in slow motion in the screen so that you can follow along right while he explains. So hopefully it's it's understandable. If not, you guys can always just go to the official Discord. The link is going to be at the bottom of the guide. And if you go to the tips and tricks, a section of the Discord, you will find, a more in-depth explanation with also with the clips, with video clips, so that you can maybe follow along a little bit easier. But yeah, it's just Ida moves really, really fast. So, it might be a little bit difficult to just follow along. So I'm just going to put it on slow motion for you guys. And, I'm just going to let Dan explain everything.
Okay. A basic theory behind Ida's rotation is to build up to 200 engine boost as fast as possible and get your reciprocal burst off. Reciprocal burst is E. It gives you ETH. This is only if you use it at 200 engine boost. You use it at max engine boost, it will clear it, set it to 0, and give you a 15-second buff. The buff is 100% attack and 60% penetration. This buff is actually insane. It will basically triple your damage for that 15-second period. And at the same time, it also makes it so that your Q will fill your engine boost by a minimum of 25% every time. It just adds an additional 25% engine boost every time you Q. So if you use your Q at max gauge after this reciprocal burst, you'll get 50 boost at a time, and it lets you build straight back to 200% within 9 seconds. And then you have another 6 seconds with this massive damage buff to just go to town and kick. Right? So the initial portion of this rotation, there's 2 portions. The initial portion is building up at the beginning of a fight to 200% as fast as possible. And then the secondary portion is going to be rebuilding to 200% after you've used reciprocal burst. So for the start of the fight, you're going to open up with W and just let it run by itself. It'll take a little bit, and it'll fill up your engine gauge all by itself with all the hits of your W connect. So your engine gauge is full. You're going to use Quirk, lock that gauge in, and then use Q once. This puts you at 25% engine boost. You're just going to auto for a little bit, and then you're going to Q again. During the animation of the second Q, you're going to want to de-toggle your Quirk, and this will let you keep the gauge, but let your Quirk start recharging. Since your Q is on a 3-second cooldown, what this toggling does is it lets your gauge, or it lets your quirk recharge during the 3-second cooldown, so you get much more uses out of locking your gauge. All right, if you just toggle your quirk on and just spam Q until your quirk runs out, you can only get like 3 Qs in. If you do this toggle stuff, you can go from 0% straight to 175, which is way better. All right, it lets you build your gauge way faster. All right, so let's just start from the top again. Follow along in the spreadsheet because this is going to get pretty complicated. So W, special, Q. You're going to Q again, toggle special off, auto, just smack the thing, keep your combo up. When your Q comes back off cooldown, you're going to toggle your gauge and Q, and then you're going to Q again, and mid Q, you're going to toggle your gauge off, and at this point, your W is back off cooldown. So you have a free Q. This Q is going to deplete your gauge and put you at 100%, and then you're going to have no gauge. But since your W is up, you can just hit W, refill your gauge instantly, and then toggle quirk, Q, Q, toggle quirk off, Q, Q. If you notice a pattern here, there's your quirk. Basically, you're going to toggle it on for 2 Qs and then toggle it off, and then toggle it on for the next 2 Qs and then toggle it off. And this will take you all the way up to 200%. The gauge will take you up to 175, but building, your quirk, your quirk will take you to 175%. And then you'll have to refill your gauge manually with auto attacks. But by the time you're at 175, filling your gauge takes like 3 seconds tops, like sometimes 1, sometimes 2. You'll be able to fill it up to 200 very, very fast. And then at 200, what you're going to do is you're going to fill up your gauge. All right. You're at 200% boost. You're going to fill up your gauge. And then as soon as your Q is off cooldown, you're going to E. All right, this is the reciprocal burst. This is going to give you the massive damage buff, and this is going to reset your engine boost to 0. That's why you have to make sure that you have max gauge before you do this. Otherwise, building your gauge back up when you're at 0 is a pain in the ass unless your W cooldown is up. So you E, you reset your boost, your gauge is maxed, you Q, and now you're at 50 burst. You're going to W, that fills your gauge back up, and then you're going to lock that gauge with your quirk, and you're going to Q 2 more times, and you're already back to 150 boost. You can toggle your quirk off here, and then just Q 1 more time, and bam, 200. You have 6 seconds left. If you've done it perfectly, usually you'll be at like between 3 to 5 seconds left, just because, you might have to like run around, chase the boss, do some boss mechanics or whatever. But you will have max boost for a pretty decent period of time to just kick the ever-living shit out of whatever you're fighting. And it's going to be so much damage. Like, it is absolutely insane. My IIDA has 1 EX card and just, the good old ectoplasm ragdoll stuff. He's 40k BP, and on the 1 minute parse does 150k DPS. So it's absolutely crazy. This man is a machine. Once again, if you have trouble with this rotation, try to check out the clips we have, or try to read over the rotation noted in the guide again. The explanation is a little bit hard to follow just by ear. But yeah, good luck with the monster DPS.
Alright guys, so hopefully that was super clear. The most complicated part about IIDA is actually his combos. So hopefully that was super clear. And now let's move on to his support cards, his chips. And then we'll just leave the miscellaneous for last, and we'll be done with this guide. So, for his support cards, The recommended cards are going to be Cold Shot and Nomu, right? For the generic ones. Cold Shot because it gives you tons and tons of crits, and as you can imagine, with how many times per second Ida is hitting, he definitely wants all the crit that you can give him. And Nomu because Nomu procs out of normal attacks, right? Regular auto attacks, and so who does more auto attacks than Ida? Right, so definitely Nomu and Cold Shot. If you have them, put them on your Ida, and you will soar through the sky with damage. Right. When it comes to the other two recommended cards, as usual, they're going to be his EX cards. And basically, they both, they're a little bit different. One gives you just flat out damage. The other one gives you damage based off of your boost, I believe. So they're pretty straightforward, like most EX cards, honestly. Like most of them actually do exactly the same thing, right? Like one of them gives you a flat damage, and the other one, in the case of Ida, it gives you a damage increase by 4.8% with each 10 combos, up to a maximum of 120%. So up to a 120% extra damage. That is ridiculous. Ridiculous. So definitely want his EX cards if you can get your hands on them. And then we have also for the budget cards, I have two 4-stars and two 5-stars. So the 4-stars are going to be YuYJ because YuYJ procs off of auto attacks again. Ragdoll because Ragdoll gives you crits. Again, same thing, right? Ectoplasm. Ectoplasm is great for heroes that do a lot of auto attacks. And also Combat Fist because Combat Fist, guess what? Gives you a lot of crit. So yeah, now moving on finally to his chips, we have that no other character wants crit as much as Ida does, right? So you want crit. Prioritize crit over any other stat when it comes to Ida because Ida wants to crit, right? Because he shoots so many times, not shoots, but he auto attacks so many times per second that he wants to crit to shove as much damage as he can in there, right? So his 6-star chipset is going to give him it's going to give him damage dealt to the villain that he breaks, right, with his combo. Increases by 0.3%, and this can be stacked up to 60 times until the villain is defeated. So basically what that means is that yellow bar underneath most villains, right, underneath most bosses, they have like their health bar, and underneath that there's a yellow bar. So when you deplete the yellow bar, right, basically Ida is going to be dealing up to 18% more damage, right? That's going to come from your 6-star chipset. So that's amazing. Like I said, just any damage increase when it comes to Ida, right, is going to be fantastic, right? Because he can just auto attack a billion times, right, and shove it in there. Shove as much damage in there as he, more damage in there than any other character. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, let's just move to the miscellaneous stuff now. Alright guys, and now we finally come to the last part of the guide, which is going to be the miscellaneous advice, right, that we have for you. Remember guys, that if you have anything that you would like to add, or that you think I should change, or that I got wrong, then you are more than welcome to leave a comment, let me know, and I will correct it or add or remove whatever I have to do, right? So you guys know that this is all stuff that I already mentioned, but I just I just want to go over it anyways. So basically it takes 6 to 8 seconds to get to his optimal DPS state, which is basically him at 200% engine power, right? It would actually be more accurate to say that it takes like 12 to 15 seconds, because you want to get to your 200 engine power, and then you want to go back down with your E, and then build back up so that his actual optimal DPS state is going to be the 50% boost to his attack and the 60% boost to his penetration when he is under his E, and also a 200% engine power, right? Remember that the 60% penetration actually comes from your talent tree, so don't forget to check out the talent tree guide so that you know exactly which talents to do with Ida. The link for the talent tree guide is going to be at the bottom of the guide and also in the description of this video, guys, so don't miss out on that. Then we have that after using your E and going back to 200% power, you'll have 3 to 5 seconds of the E's buff to deal the highest amount of damage possible, right? The reason for this variation, right, 3 to 5 seconds, like Dan already said before, is that, sometimes this is mostly PvE, right? Because it is not that good at PvP. So like sometimes the boss will run around and you'll have to chase him down. So that's what the variation 3 to 5 seconds comes from, right? So finally, we have that Ida is the undisputed god of boss raid. Anytime events, really, but especially boss raid, right? So make sure that you use him to get the best results, because you will do the most amount of damage in the least amount of time when it comes to Ida. He is the god of single target PvE, for sure. So that's gonna be it, guys, for this guide. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you understood Ida. He is, he looks simple, and he really is simple, right? All you really need to do is just get a grasp of his optimal combo, which is actually pretty straightforward once you have it down. It can look a little bit intimidating, but it's actually not that hard. You just gotta practice it a few times in the training mode, and you'll be good to go. So leave a like, guys, if you enjoyed this guide. Please leave a comment. What do you think? Do you have anything to add? Do you think I got anything wrong? Do you think I should remove or add anything? Please leave a comment, guys, and I will be happy to. I will always give a shout out to those that help me out with the guides or give good advice, right? So there's always shout outs. And subscribe if you like more guides like this, guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Also, don't forget the poll that I'm going to leave in the description of the video so that you guys can vote for the next character. So I'll see you guys on the next one.